Welcome back to Know Your Charity. I'm in discussion with Al-Jama-ah leader, Mr. Khanif Hendricks. 15 years ago, Al-Jama-ah had formed, and now it has a position within itself in the National Assembly, which is, of course, our parliament. Mr. Hendricks, we've seen that you have a very close relationship with the governing party, and I'm not suggesting that, as they would say in the political terms, you are lying in bed with them. But you do, of course, share any, if there is a flaw within the political party. We see that on various media platforms. You do stand up and, of course, hold them accountable. But just discuss that relationship with the ANC, and how do you balance holding them accountable, but also on the other hand, praising them for whatever good work they do.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that we hold them accountable, and we are very vicious with the ANC in the portfolio committees and also in Parliament and all the debates. But we support the good work that they do, and they've realized that their voters are looking for an alternative political party. They have failed their voters over 27 years. We can see that in how the ANC hardliners supported Al-Jama-ah in Harding and also in other elections. So in fact, they want a coalition with Al-Jama-ah, but we turned it down. So they sent Jeff Radebe, a special envoy of the NEC, in November after the outcome of the elections, when they saw that we were making inroads into the ANC constituency. As you know, we've also made inroads in the DA constituency in Lenasia, where we thrashed the DA. They held the seat, and we got about 8,000 votes. They just had under 1,000. So that was a dramatic thrashing of the DA. So political parties obviously want to form alliances. So the deal with the ANC at the moment is that they will assist us so that our constituency, where there's Muslims and non-Muslims, benefit from government programs. So that's why the Deputy President came to District 6 and fast-track handing over of keys to claimants. The President wants to wants me to take him to Mapami village, which is a rural village, hardly any Muslims there, except for one or two Maulanas. And government has even given them a fishing vessel at the request of Al-Jama-ah. But the cherry on the top is in the November elections, the Big Six phoned me and told me that they want to tell their voters in the Western Cape to vote for Al-Jama-ah. Now just imagine such a major political party. The top leaders phone us and tells us, look, we have some technical problems with the IEC, and we don't have any candidates for the PR list. You have quite a number of candidates. We want to tell our voters in the Western Cape that they must vote Al-Jama-ah. So when a major political party trusts you like that, it means that we can get our constituency to benefit from government programs. So the Minister of Social Welfare, after Ramadan, she's coming to speak to our constituency to find out from social welfare organizations, NGOs, how can we assist you. The Minister of Police is coming. He's very keen to work with us so that we can address gangsterism. And both the Minister of Social Welfare and the Minister of Police, like Al-Jama-ah's policy on a socio-economic response to gangsterism and drugs. So government has seen that we have some good policies, some good projects. They know it's based on Islamic values, and they don't have a quarrel with it.
Mr. Hendricks, you mentioned that you're part of the Pan-African Parliament, and you, along with many other political parties that are involved in this. When we talk of Pan-Africanism, it's a wide-ranging topic. And one of it is trying to get Africa to be from a developing continent to a developed continent. Now, we know colonialism has reared its ugly head here. In South Africa, we've seen apartheid rearing its ugly head. But how far or how close are we to making sure that Africa in itself can be, number one, sustainable, and number two, at the same time, rely on foreign investment, but also promote people from our own continent to get the economy of Africa as a whole?
Look, the first step is trade. One of our leading ulama in Cape Town was Sheikh Shaki Hamildin. And in every khutbah, he said, "Julle moet koop en verkoop." In other words, you must trade. And he obviously quoted a lot of ayats and hadith that it's in the nature of Muslims to be entrepreneurs and to create jobs and economic development. So there are a lot of opportunities for Muslims in South Africa to trade right up to Tunisia. But we're starting now in the bottom half of Africa, opening opportunities for trade. And here, small businesses, medium businesses will be able to thrive. And the more business and profit they make, the more zakat they can pay, the more charity they can give, and the Muslim community and other communities can be uplifted. However, it's not very easy for us to reach the same standards as the European Union. And also with all these xenophobic attacks and responses, that is hampering the progress, because Africa, like Julius Malema says, must be borderless. It's the colonialists that split it. And so it's a great challenge. As a university student in 74, we got the first taste of how a United States of Africa should look, personally from Colonel Gaddafi and his advisors and his lieutenants on the Revolutionary Council. And I recall, the lessons that we learned there, and I hope that to apply that in the Pan-African Parliament. One of the things Gaddafi said is, don't be dependent on the West. Africa has to be dependent on itself. And don't try and flex your muscles as a single country. South Africa or Nigeria on its own can't compete in the economic spheres or other spheres. But if all the countries of Africa are united, it is that structure that will be able to compete with America and beat them in all fields, in science, in technology. And so I'm very excited that Parliament has the confidence in me.
Okay, we seem to have lost Mr. Hendricks. We are going to try and re-establish a connection with him. As you know, technology always rears its ugly head on the topic of rearing its ugly head. So yeah, Mr. Hendricks is obviously talking about his role within the Pan-African Parliament. As we know that he is one of those members that are representing there. And of course, the Pan-African Parliament, if you know it, is trying to establish the sustainability of Africa and to try and see that, yes, Africa may need some sort of foreign investment, but if the foreign investment isn't coming in, how does Africa and the citizens of the continent go ahead and try and establish themselves as entrepreneurs, as traders, and they will be able to go ahead and make the best out of the situation. Well, we're going to still try, with a few minutes left, we're going to try and establish some sort of connection with Mr. Hanif Hendricks. But here on Ramadan TV, we are going to be having quite a few pledges. Actually, every day, we're going to be having pledges that are going to be happening this week. Tomorrow, of course, one of our pledges is going to be Islamic Da'wah movement. If you know that movement, the promotion of education, especially with our Holy Quran. And with the odd nights that are coming, quite quickly here in this month of Ramadan, Islamic Dawah movement is making sure that they can distribute Quran across the African continent and within the languages of the specific countries in order to make sure that there is a promotion of Islam. So do catch Islamic Dawah Movement's pledge that is happening tomorrow night from 9:30, and many other pledges that will be happening here on Ramadan TV. Well, that's all we have for you here on Know Your Charity. We seem to have not been getting Mr. Hanif Hendricks. Technology just not going according to us. But it was a lovely conversation to have with him, and we'll try and get him soon here on Ramadan TV. But for myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team here on Know Your Charity on Ramadan TV, we say Jazakallah to you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.